Here we had a little bit of difficulty connecting. First of all, at the beginning of every second hour, we just want to say we appreciate you listening here on the Liberty Brothers Radio Show, and we ask you to support our home network here, Revolution Radio. If you go to the website there's a place where you can donate. We want to give a shout out here to a couple of other stations that are producing our streaming our shows, WDFP and Red State Talk Radio as well. We want to give a shout out to them. And if you want to support us here at the Liberty Brothers, go to thelibertybrothers.com and click on some of the links we have there, and all of the money that comes in is split between my brother in Liberty, Jason, and myself. And we just appreciate you checking us out, liking our Facebook page, Twitter, all that stuff. All helps. So we're here. Jason is gone today and tomorrow, and we are delighted to be joined as a co-host. Delighted to be joined by Pastor Dowell, Pastor Charles Dowell, who has a great ministry and a great presence on YouTube, and puts out a lot of truth, a lot of days. Pastor, thanks so much for joining us here again on the second hour of the Liberty Brothers.
Well, thank you for having me. And I look forward to having more dialogue.
Yes, absolutely, indeed. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I understand we're having some problems. I think people may have been trying to call in, but the studio line is not working properly. So I'm going to give out the studio line again. If that doesn't work, we're going to try to, I'll give out my Skype line, and people can call in on Skype if they choose to. We tried that last time. It didn't work so well, but maybe it'll work this time.
All right.
Anyway, let me get out the studio line here. Is if it even works yet, someone in the chat won't have to tell me. It's area code 310-421-4053. Again, that's area code 310-421-4253. That's the number for Studio B. Or if you want to connect to us via Skype, go to your Skype and type in Freedom Screen 2. That's Freedom Screen and the numeral 2, and you can connect right up to us here directly. And we'd love to have your phone calls. And Pastor Dowell, of course, has a tremendous amount of scriptural knowledge, but he is far from a slouch when it comes to knowing what's going on in the world and what's going on with current events. He's on top of that stuff as much as anybody. Pastor, what do you think? I know that you and I both have talked before about precious metals. Let me switch gears a little bit here in the second hour, maybe talk a little bit about the economy, because, the way I look at it is, it doesn't matter what's on, who's on the Oscars or who's playing the Super Bowl or what other people are doing. That only affects a certain population at any given time. But when it comes to money and the really real money, not real money, the currency, the false money that is printed up, I mean, currency and money and finances, that just affects every single person, just about, certainly in America and on the planet. Financially speaking, Pastor, that you can't be 18-something trillion dollars in debt and then opening up your borders and offering free programs. Now, did you see, Pastor, where now if you're an illegal, and even if you didn't, like the day that you sign up, you can receive checks from the IRS for taxes that you never paid for. I mean, what in the world is this? What's going on around here, brother?
When it goes, when it comes to a country, in order how to run a country, you have to have a strong monetary system, and our monetary system is sick. It is literally on life support. With quantitative easing 1, quantitative easing 2, and then quantitative easing 3 and 4, I wouldn't doubt if it's already there. We're watching the decline. That's how history shows us. Rome began to debase its currency and its value, and they started putting other metals, worthless metals, in their currency, kind of like we do today. We're actually not walking around with money. We're walking around with ironclad slugs and paper. That's what we run around with. Tangible assets, silver, i.e. silver and gold, has been gold or has been just weights and balances for 5,000 years. When they went and dug up the tombs of the Egyptian pharaohs and stuff, they didn't find Federal Reserve notes in there. They found cassette, they found silver, and they found gold that was buried with these so-called alleged monarchs. we have a very sincere problem because even in school today, we're not taught how the monetary system is supposed to work. And when people are dumbed down to an unprecedented level and ignorant on purpose, you can't expect for these people, or even myself, you can't expect any of us to actually function the right way. Our country is literally sold down the tubes, and we are broke. And you're right, 18 trillion, that's what they tell us. That's what they tell us. But all of us that are informed, we know that they're fudging the numbers and cooking the books. We know when you look at unfunded liabilities that we're looking at in upwards north of $200 trillion in debt, national debt. They tell us 18 trillion because that's the number they want us to believe. And our Congress doesn't have the stomach to balance this budget. So people need to start making moves. And of course, what's happening right now is the same thing that has happened in history before. And only those who are informed are going to be ahead of the game. Now, I've taken it on the chin about people, really, truly let me have it, especially since the hammering of silver. I know it's market manipulation. And since I know what I believe in, I bought silver when it was at $40, $30, $20, $10. I even bought it when it was $5 an ounce, $8 an ounce a long, long time ago. It's simply because I believe what the Bible says. I know what money is, kasef. And I can still today, even with these gas prices, if people can just understand economics, just economics 101. I can take a 1 ounce silver coin that has a $1 value on the back of it. And I think today it's going for like maybe $16, $17, $18. I can still go out and buy at least 8 gallons of gas, if providing I take it to a coin shop and get what the value of that particular coin is. But you cannot take a $1 bill and go to a gas station and purchase 18 gallons of gas. That's just letting you know that no matter how much they manipulate the system, how devalued our currency really truly is. And of course, all these book entries are doing nothing but helping create even more debt. We are a debt-based economy, and we used to be the greatest creditor nation. Now we're the greatest debtor nation, and we are in hot to I can't tell you how many people all across this land. And it's a very sad situation. As far as the illegals go, it don't surprise me. It does not surprise me one bit at all. Because they're looking, the powers that be, they're looking for votes. That's all they're looking for. And the Democrats want to do everything they can to stay in power. Now, don't get me wrong. I am under no illusion whatsoever at all. Be they Republicans or Democrats, they are all rats. And every single one of them have bitten of the fruit of lies and have sold us out, this country, to the powers that be. What they're doing is they're making the United States of America a third world country. And I would tell people, open up your eyes and see.
Well, no, I'm right there with you, Pastor. I couldn't have put it any better than you did, certainly. What how do you feel about this? If I can ask you, how do you? No, I think I know the answer to this question. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I may ask it to you, but I know the answer to it. I was going to ask you about the Pope, but let's not go there. Let me give you my. Let me give out the. I'm going to give out the actual number here, my Skype number, because I think we're having some problems with the chat room. So I'm going to put my Skype number here in the chat room now. And my Skype number is, let me double check that. Yes, 406-962-6960. That's 406-962-6960. That's my Skype line. As I said, we can try that. It hasn't worked in the past, but I think we got it fixed. So give us a call if you'd like, or if you want to get us through Skype, you can still go to Freedom Screen 2. That's Freedom Screen 2, and you can Skype in, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. I imagine, Pastor, I hate to speak for you, brother, but I imagine the floor is wide open for you, right? I mean, you just about, you can answer. You're willing to take any questions. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. And if I don't know the answer, or if I don't have any inkling of what the answer is, I'll just simply say I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? That is something else too. What you just said there. That is, it's probably a product, and get your thoughts on this. But I think we do live in a society, and I don't know where it came from, but it's like people are like afraid to be wrong. They feel so personally attacked when you try to say that they're wrong. And you know what? As far as I know, we all I know it sounds very cliche, but we all fall short, man. We all make mistakes. People need to get over the being wrong, because I have to tell you something, my good brother. Most of the best lessons I've learned in life have been when I was wrong, not when I was right. Looks like we got a caller coming in. Hold on here. Hi, caller.
Yes, sir.
What's your name and where you calling from, please?
Lady Bird Jr. calling from New York.
Hi, how you doing? Do you have a question for Pastor Dowell?
Oh, that's my pastor. That's my pastor.
Oh,
His ministry, sir.
oh, that's great. He's your pastor, and you live in New York. What's on your mind today?
Oh yeah. I want to talk about the ban, the ammo ban. They want to ban the AR-15 ammo, 223.
Yeah, that's their backdoor method of trying to, they've been trying to confiscate our guns for some time now. And that these criminals are not going to give up, because a mafia, when the mafia runs things, they don't need an armed society, of course. So yeah, they are trying to ban AR-15. I think it's going to be that it's been said for a long time that that's going to be their backdoor method. Is they're going to, you can have all the guns you want, but they're just going to take away the ammo, and all you have is an expensive hammer. Really, at that point, what's your thoughts, Pastor, on this ammo ban?
Yeah, I understand exactly what he's talking about. This is why I keep trying to tell the people here in the United States of America that you really truly need to pay attention, because these people have not stopped in their motivation to try to confiscate the guns from us. And this is what is amazing to me. President Barack Hussein Obama made a statement, and he had talked about the UN, the United Nations, and how that the United Nations is coming up with this particular ban on ammo. And you're right, James. I mean, if you don't have any ammo for your guns, all you have is a paperweight and a battering ram, and that's about it. But they are after not only the guns but the ammo now, and of course now the ammo is being tainted. And what disturbs me about this is how ignorant the American people are, that even when they are telling you the truth of what they're going to do right there in front of your face on that monitor, in front of that TV, we sit there as if we have been dumbed down, and we're mind numbed to everything that goes on. They're clearly telling us what they're doing, and we have no stomach to act. And so they tell us that here we are, which America should be a sovereign nation. Notice I said should be a sovereign nation. And the UN is going to pass some type of declaration or some type of law that's supposed to affect every particular sovereign country that is in the UN. Oh, no, I don't get it. I don't understand. I made the statement. They can pass all the laws they want. And they can show you the globalization, how America is really truly not in existence whatsoever at all. It's only in your mind. And you had better wake up, everybody, unless you deserve exactly what you get if you don't wake up from all this tomfoolery that they're doing with us right now. And so they're placing a sovereign nation under the UN, somebody that is outside the scope of America, called the European Union as well. And they're all a global and confederate in taking away the ammo and the guns. Now, we all know the Department of Homeland Security not too long ago turned around and actually bought up an extraordinary amount of rounds. Now, today, we're looking at, 22s. One day you may be able to get a 22 bullet for 25 cents a piece. And hey, maybe that's a good investment nowadays. But people had better wake up. And you need to know what liberty and honor and sovereignty really truly is. I can't wake these people up. I can scream, I can holler, and I can shout. But unless they're motivated to get out and do something, they're going to be destroyed. Just period. They're just going to be destroyed.
Well, we have another caller that's joined us. Caller that just got on the line. Can you let us know who you are and where you're from, please?
Are you talking to me, sir?
We had another caller join us. Is there another caller on the line? Okay, maybe they didn't. Maybe they hung up. Original caller, I forgot your first name. Is it John?
Oh, Junior.
Junior.
Brother Junior.
Is there anything else that you
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to? Is there anything else that you want to bring up, sir, to the pastor?
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Remember, y'all folks saw the French far flight, but you ain't had time for y'all saw the calamities about how shopping all of them. Cause you ain't had time for talk about the French far flag.
You have any,
Bring it up, sir.
you have any comment on that, Pastor? Caller, we're gonna let you go, caller. We got another caller trying to come in. Thank you for your time, Pastor. You want to comment on that?
I couldn't actually make out what he was saying, James. You're going to have to tell me what he's saying.
He was talking about the flag. I think France and the flag.
James, you got me on hold. James has me on hold for something. I think he made the wrong hit on something.
Oh, can you hear me?
Okay, I'm back on, James. I was accidentally on hold.
Something happened. I got caught in this loop, and I could not get back on the air for some reason, man. That's live radio for you, right?
Yes, sir. It's all right.
We had a caller calling in too, and I had to. He fell off, but I told him to please call back. So it may be. I think it's our friend Billy Redneck may want to call in here. Anyway, I apologize. That first caller that I talked to, that we just talked to, I think he was talking about the flag. I'm not sure. I didn't catch exactly what he was saying either. But yeah, you mentioned it earlier, Pastor. That was very astute on your behalf. We are, we used to be at one point. Hold on, caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're there. Sorry about that. Okay, your name, please, and where you're from.
This is William, and I'm from America. And I'll tell you what, I was trying to get on your live feed so I could listen, and I heard just a little bit when I called in just a few moments ago. The pastor speaking, I believe it was anyway, and he's talking about 22 shells at a quarter apiece and whatnot. But the thing that got my attention most was the fact that he said they're not listening. And I want to encourage him and all of us out there that are trying to shake the family tree. When Jeremiah, whose true name in Hebrew was Yeremiyahu, and Jeremiah stood in front of the house of the name, which, the Christians would know as the temple, and he was crying to them, he was lamenting, he was warning them, he was tearing them down, he was building them up. They did not pay attention to him. They threw him in a dung hole, then put him in prison. And, Brother Isaiah, in Hebrew, his name is Yeshayahu. He was out there trying to warn him like the pastor's trying to warn him, and the rest of us are trying to warn the people. And he got so desperate, the word says that Isaiah got naked just to try and get their attention. And you know what they did to him? They took Isaiah and they cut his body in half. And so they're not going to listen. They're going to perish. And it's a really sad time for us as we weep between the porch and the altar. It is a sad time to see our great nation self-destructing for lack of knowledge. What do you think about that?
Pastor, you care to comment?
Well, yeah. I mean, I agree 1,000% what he said, because when you look at the patriarchs, and that including the prophets as well, they have always suffered under some type of a government, whatever they were in captivity to. And people need to understand that we are literally in captivity to this government today. And resistance to tyranny is actually obedience to God. It is obedience to Yah. The prophet Hosea says, they have set up kings and governments, but not by me. And they have made princes. and I knew them not. I mean, that's exactly what we have going on today. But when you look at, for instance, Daniel, and this is the people who are resisting tyranny. And tyranny is a cruel and oppressive government or rule. And that's exactly what we're under today. Daniel was told that he couldn't pray. And so he decided to open up his window and go ahead and start shouting as he did before. Because anybody who would not bow down to the image, at the sound of the dulcimer, that he was actually, they was going to deal with him, the government was. And so that is what they're trying to remove out of the hearts of Yahweh's people. They're trying to take away the fight from us by getting us to fear. But let me tell you something. Every time one of us stands for this truth and gives our life for it, another 100 rises up. And we can't be fearful of standing on the truth and standing for the word. Now, hey, if he was high up in order, and he was, and Yah intervened for him, then surely Yah will intervene for us. But make sure you need to understand this, that some of us are going to have to die first.
Caller, you care to comment on that, caller? William?
Well, he's exactly right. Some of them are going to die. Absolutely, absolutely. Some of them are going to have to go to the guillotine because they did not keep the commandments. They did not fear. Absolutely, there's going to be martyrs, but there is a selective group that hears one voice, one way, and the word says they're the anointed, and you cannot touch them. But that group is a little remnant. Remnant means small already, but little remnant means really small. And this brother's preaching the absolute truth. Y'all better listen to him, because he's telling you what slavery really is. And the whole Civil War thing and everything, that was all about money. That was all about slavery for all the people, for everybody. And this brother's teaching you the absolute truth. May the Almighty baruch you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you continually, brother, because you're teaching everybody that I don't care what color you are, I don't care what your bloodline is, every single one of you who puts your foot down on that birth certificate, bond, trust document, you are a slave. That's a fact. It's time we got together, all of us, and said, we're not doing this no more. We're not afraid of you no more. We're going to make our faces like a flint. We're not afraid of your words or your looks. We don't care. We're not afraid to die. And when we say we're not afraid to die, the bottom line is he protects you. He will protect us in these last days. And this brother's right. Our words are more powerful. You can look at Elijah, who killed with hundreds of prophets of Balaam with a fleshly sword, but Elijah's student grew in power, and Elisha could kill with his mouth. Just 42 boys out of a few hundred boys were mocking the man because the prophet of God was a little bit balding, and they were mocking him, and Elisha called out the she-bear to devour the 42 boys. No mistake, it's 42 boys. There's 3.5 years, half of that tribulation. And by the way, this brother's really telling the truth. The word tyranny is a 7-letter word. Oh, yeah. We got the 7 spirits of truth that were in Christ in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1, 2, 3, and 4. He looks on the earth right now with 7 eyes. He's looking for anybody who has the multicolored coat of Joseph, that marriage covenant, that garment. Brother, I'm just on fire for what you're doing. We need more like you who are preaching it right, raw dog. This is the way it is. And we don't have a whole bunch of time left on the face of this earth as we approach the 7 appointed times of Yah, as we approach that September 23rd date, as things really start to become very, very exciting, actually. And the men before us, those men that we stand on their shoulders in the mind of Christ, they would have done anything to be where you and I are right now, to stand together as 2 witnesses and take this set-apart spirit and use it with our tongue. I'm sorry to keep going, brother, but there's a fire coming from my bones.
No, hey, you're fine by me. I'm sure the good pastor doesn't mind that at all. If I could ask both of you guys a question, if you don't mind, both of you, I know have the gift of healing. Why, can you explain to the people out there, this is something that was promised to all of us to be able to do. Pastor Dowell, you first. Why have we come so far away from that where, we can't barely heal, a hangnail let alone cure cancer or make disease leave people's body. Why do we not have that power like we should? And Pastor Dowell, can you answer that first if you don't mind?
Sure. Number one, the answer is because the people as a whole do not keep the commandments. And then the second part is number two, they're not filled with the power of Yah, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy Spirit. Without keeping the commandments, walking in obedience, and without having the same spirit that was in the Messiah, and dwelling inside these temples, which is the temple of Yah, walking around this earth today as little sanctuaries, and then there can't be any healing going on, because we have not any power of our own self to heal a gnat of a toothache. We must be empowered by the same spirit. When Yeshua told the people to go to Jerusalem until you be endued with power from on high, and without the Ruach HaKodesh, and without keeping the commandments, walking in obedience, we can't expect anybody to actually function outside of that order today. And if there's anything that is trying to function outside of what has already been written and prescribed, then the scriptures clearly call it lying signs and wonders, and people had better be careful.
William, how would you comment with that?
Well, let me tell you what. I'm gonna walk with this brother. We're going all the way to the finish line together, because this is the solid gold truth. He's a witness. I'm gonna be a witness to the other side of this. I'm gonna give you the other side. He gave you rock solid truth, and here it is. If we do not fear God, if we do not have that foundation of the treasure of God, the fear of the Lord is his treasure, Isaiah 33:6. I make my companions of those who fear. In the fear of the Lord, we understand the secret, and the covenant is known, Psalm 25:14, and then Psalm 91. The secret of the Lord is where you must dwell. In the fear of the Lord, you'll find the power to be obedient. And this brother's 100% right. If you cannot be trusted in a little thing, you cannot be trusted in the treasures of the kingdom, and the fear of the Lord is his treasure. I'm with him 100%. I'm walking with you arm to arm. We're going to lock like a chain, brother. That's it. Done deal. Woohoo! I'm on fire. I'm full of joy. Yay. I'm sorry, boys. I'm a little out of control. I love Yahweh. I love him. He told me to call in today. I didn't hear what y'all were saying, but I love him so much. And let's just keep marching, pressing in towards the mark of perfection, and for the perfecting of the saints. That's what I say.
Hallelujah.
All right, William, we appreciate you so much for calling in. Very, very great dialogue, great banter back and forth. And please feel free to call in anytime, my brother. We appreciate that. Good talking to you.
Welcome. Take care, brother. Love you both.
Thank you, man.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom. All right, that was William calling from America. Yeah, I tell you, that's good stuff right there, Pastor. You guys are, you guys are, and I say onto something. That's certainly an understatement. But you guys are. I tell you, when I talk to both of you brothers, I feel like there's just a truth, a stream of truth, and I'm so thankful for you guys. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. I mean, if you really truly think about it, let me go ahead and quote a portion of the letter that the Apostle Saul had written to the Church of Corinthians, or the assembly. He says, "Now beseech you, brethren, by the name," and I'm going to read it directly like the King James Version says, "of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment." And the only way that we can all speak the same thing is we have to lay aside our opinions, personal opinions. We have to forget our own, what we call our perspective and will, and we have to be determined to speak the word of Yah. And anytime you get 2 or 3 together and they're speaking the word of Yah, there will be no division, because it's the spirit of truth that is in operation right there. That's the reason why that we can agree, because we both agree on Yahweh's sovereign word. And that's the reason why we're speaking the same thing and of the same mind, same heart, and same spirit, because we're not telling you our personal opinion. We're telling you what Yahweh has said through the mouthpieces of his holy prophets and his apostles. And when people do that, I guarantee you there will not be no private interpretations. where everybody comes up and they start giving their personal opinions of what they believe and what I believe or what we say. No, nobody cares about what we or I say. We only care about what the word says. And I appreciate the caller for calling in.
Yeah, very well put. Very well put. If there's anybody else that wants to call in, I think we're having problems with our Studio B line today. So if you want to call in, here's the number you can call instead or in lieu of the studio line is area code 406 962 6980. And feel free to give a call in here, and we'd be happy to can ask the good pastor anything that you'd like, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer. We're just getting big. We're getting big. I just got a big. The latest headline. I don't know if you follow the Judge Report very much, Pastor, but the latest headline is the future of the internet. This is a top headline on Judge. The future of the internet is at stake. We just talked about this here. I think last hour. Yeah. I guess what puzzles me, Pastor, and I can have you comment on this. It's become just. It seems to be so easy for people just to believe. I think you said it before. God's given them over to a lie or reprobate mind. It seems to me that people. I know this is going to sound funny when I say this, but it's almost like people love the lie more than they love the truth, because the truth is going to cause them to get up off their rear end and have to actually do something. So I think they really kind of like the lie because it's convenient and easy. What do you say about that statement, Pastor?
100%. I agree. As a matter of fact, the prophet Hosea says in chapter 10, verse 13, you have plowed wickedness. Now, isn't that a coincidence? And you have reaped iniquity. And you have eaten, here's the key, the fruit of lies, because thou didst distrust in the way and in the multitude of thy mighty men. Hey, the whole purpose of them having the internet under fire is because it's called the information highway for a reason. Something can take place here in Tennessee, and at one click of the button, it can be across the world, and within 5 minutes, 1 million something people or 2 million people are viewing it. And what these people need to do is they need to actually stop all of this information getting out, so that way the politicians can't be scrutinized. And when they're selling us out like they've done, we're able to see exactly what is going on. And so thereafter, people not being able to communicate with each other, because communications is the key. The exchange of flow of information from one person to another is the key to sanity. And if we don't have it today, we're going to be insane just like we are today. So, hey, it doesn't surprise me that they're attacking the internet. It doesn't surprise me at all, because the internet is more powerful and greater than the TV.
No, it is indeed, and I think you're right on. And I gotta believe that you called it earlier. I think YouTube. I submit to you that there's more people view YouTube every day by magnitudes than view like television. I would think certain television. I mean, there's some YouTube videos that get more hits in a day than some CNN programs. Let's talk about that for a quick second. You talk about the control and the monopolization of information. And I just had this conversation with someone a day or two ago. When we find ourselves embroiled in a tyranny, which we obviously are currently in this country, and the actual the group or organization that's perpetrating the tyranny is also the same organization that has control over 98% of all media in the whole entire country. Isn't that a point? I mean, isn't that a spot that we should really be? And I say attacking, I don't mean in the sense of a physical violence sense. Shouldn't we be attacking the media for the lies? And I know that people are, and you see the plummeting ratings. Do you see a time where either the media is going to have to either go out of business or start reporting real truth, Pastor? What do you think? You think they're going to keep They have to keep the media in place because it perpetrates their propaganda. But I mean, it's a buyer's market, right?
Yes,
People
sir.
are they're just gonna stop watching, don't you think?
Well, yes, sir. Every single day, there are more people that are waking up, that they are actually unplugging themselves from the matrix. And it's hard to unplug people today, literally. But people are waking up. The more that we have independent news sources and independent radio stations and independent outlets to where we are actually making a change by actually getting in front of each other's face and talking to each other. The more that people are dissenting quietly, that's some of the resistance to tyranny that the people are putting up, a uniform rebellion against the controlled, established news media today, which we all know is bought and saved, hock and locked by the powers that be. And so the people are literally getting fed up, and independent news sources are actually taking over in this country. And that's why, I would love to be able to have a true hope to depend on some form of righteousness within the people in the United States of America. But we have to be united, and we can't continue to keep being divided by what they're selling us. I mean, it's obvious to me that the news media, with their propaganda, is trying to start a race war here in this country. And they're being successful at doing it, very successful at doing it. And I am just literally appalled today at why people are not interested. And of course, you can thank the 501c3 churches. You can thank them for this continual lie that they keep promoting, because when they're not being told in the public schools or the public schools to trust the government, then these lying preachers are getting up and telling these people to trust it. Now, I am not anti-government. I'm anti-false government, because we need rules, guidelines, and regulations in order to be able to quell the rebellion or the nature of an unregenerated man. But many people believe that all governments are ordained by Yah and are to obeyed without question, to be obeyed without question. But the book doesn't talk like that, not at all. And so when you have institutions set up that is clearly telling you to obey these people, who the book doesn't tell you, because the book is telling you to obey the sovereignty of Yah. And when you are obeying his laws, his statutes, his commandments, his rules, and his guidelines, you don't have to worry about a law in this world that man makes, because his law is superior. His law is higher than the laws. His thoughts are greater than the thoughts that man could ever come up with. And when you are obeying the commandments, you don't ever have to worry about infringing on your brothers and sisters or your neighbor's right, because you are already regulated and you are already putting yourself under the submission and the control of the Almighty himself, the Eternal. And so this is what people need to understand. So if people, hey, I know people, I don't like all that religious talk, everything, but you better start loving it, because if you don't, hey, there's a lake prepared for all you people that want to continue to keep on ignoring people like us who have the spirit of truth that is trying to wake you up and unplug you from this matrix. But no, I don't have one lick of confidence in these government and stuff. As a matter of fact, I thank the Most High for these independent news sources, because these people right here are killing mainstream news media. The only people that love mainstream news media are the people who are benefiting from the lies.
No, you bring up an excellent point, and I cannot think of anything that brings me more pleasure than to see the mainstream media crash and burn. I'm going to ask you a scriptural question here, and it may be considered a tough one, but I'm pretty sure you can handle it. We're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves. Now, does that include the axe murderer? Does that include the pedophile? Does that include how about ISIS? I mean, there comes a point. I mean, and that's I'm just asking you a flat out question. We're supposed to love our neighbor, but aren't we supposed to hate evil as well? I mean, how do we reconcile that? As wanting to serve the Most High in the right way, how do we still love our neighbor but still follow? I mean, let's face it, Pastor, and Old Testament law, some of the things that people do today, they get stoned for.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't know if we're at a position where we can start stoning people in the street. And I'm not even saying I'm calling for that necessarily, but I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I tell you what, if we did start stoning people in the streets, I guarantee you we'll get control on all this evil that's in this land.
Oh, you're right about that. No, I mean, you're right. You're right about that.
But the book says, you know, the problem is this, James. Truth is skewed by people's own self-interest. That's what people need to understand. And when we read the book, and you have to listen to me real close. You have to listen to me real close. Matthew 5, TTIU, the 5th chapter, the 43rd verse says, ye have heard that it have been said. Now notice, this is word passed from one person to another. The Messiah has not said, you have heard that it was written. You have heard that it had been said, that thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. But I say unto you to love your enemies and bless them that curse you and do good to them that hate you and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father which is in heaven, for he maketh the sun to rise on evil and on good and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. First of all, number one, the order of business is, who was the Messiah talking to? He clearly told us in TTIU or Matthew the 15th chapter 24th verse that he has only been sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And so therefore he is only talking to Israelites. I know that everybody want to lump themselves up in this, but he's not talking that everybody's your neighbor. Where the real quote of this book is located in the Torah. If we go to Leviticus, the 19th chapter, starting at the 16th verse, and I'm going to read through 18 to give you the answer. It says that thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor, for I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Notice he said brother. The brother, remember, when you get to the Torah, this was Israelites being a brother to Israelites of the 12 tribes of Israel. When the Messiah was on the scene, he's speaking to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And everyone who chooses to be or want to come into the covenant to be an Israelite, because all Israel shall be saved. And he says this. He says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt not in any wise rebuke thy neighbor or to suffer sin upon him. Here it is. Do not hate your brother in your heart. Reprove your neighbor for certain and bear no sin against him. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. That's where he got the precept from. That's where the Messiah is quoting, because after all, he is the one who gave the law to Moshe. So when you hear that it say you heard it been said, then he says, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. This is something that people were saying. But the Messiah was telling the Israelites, you need to have tenderness in your eye. You need to be fond of your fellow brother and sister, meaning those who are keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments, those who are regenerated, those who are real, true Israelites, or some people will say in this country, Christians. Well, I believe that Christians should actually come out of that religion and be an Israelite like the book says. That's what the book talks about. So the people that is over here raping children, these pedophiles, and these people that are murdering innocent civilians on the streets, these are not your neighbors. Everybody that lives and breathes on this face of this planet Earth is not your neighbor. Your neighbor are the ones who submit themselves to the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of the Most High Yah. Your neighbors are the one who have their names written down in the Lamb's Book of Life. Your neighbors are the one who keeps the commandments and are filled with his Holy Spirit. That is who the Messiah is talking about. So you have to come out of all these different philosophies and these perspectives and thoughts that these people are trying to sell us as what they call sovereign doctrine. These are false doctrine that these people are giving you. And that's the one reason why that the Most High told us through the Messiah that we need to actually arm ourselves and make sure that we keep ourselves armed, because if everybody was your neighbor, then we wouldn't have to arm ourselves and resist all different forms of tyranny.
Well, good brother, we've got a question that came through. They alluded to, and I want to preface this first. They alluded to the rapture. Now, you've got, of course, the Left Behind series that sold, I don't know how many millions of books. You've got this whole rapture doctrine, this pre-rapture doctrine, and I think what really, I'm certainly not a Bible scholar, nor do I claim to be one. But what I find the whole rapture issue really has done regardless of whether you believe it or not believe it. I'm just telling you what it factually has done is caused Christians all over the country to sit back and say, we're just going to wait until God comes down and takes us all away. Let evil flourish, because the more evil flourishes, the faster that the rapture is going to occur. So just let it go. Rains off. Let evil just take over. We're going to get rescued. I mean, what do you think about that whole line of thinking there, brother?
First of all, I mean, after all, the spirit of sloth is in full operation to believe a doctrine like that. And the Bible nowhere talks about a 7-year tribulation period of time. This was a false doctrine that was created by some woman by the name of Margaret MacDonald somewhere in either in the 18th or 19th century. And some way, somehow, it has done made it inside of Christianity, which is the largest religion on the face of planet Earth. But that ain't the way that the Messiah spoke. He didn't say there was going to be no secret rapture of the church. As a matter of fact, the book even tells us that there was going to be a 42-month period of time. That's it. And it says in Revelation 12:14, and the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, times, and a half a time. That's 3.5 years. A time is 1 year. Times 2, half a times is half of a year, from the face of the serpent. Now, if we can believe what the Messiah said, then it's very clear that there's not going to be any rapture of the church. Matthew, the 24th chapter. This question was also posed to the people of the day. And this is what the Messiah said in Matthew 24, verse 29. If you want to know the time frame for the Great Tribulation, start getting 3.5 years in your mind. It says, this is what the Messiah said in Matthew 24, 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, look what's going to take place. The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. Then what it says, look what it says. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn when they shall see the Son of Man in the clouds of heaven with great power and great glory. If he's coming back for a secret rapture to secretly rapture us up out of here, that means he's breaking scripture. He's already came once. He's only promised to come back one more of the time. And he has to, if we're going to get secretly raptured, that means he's going to meet us in the air if we follow their line of thinking. And their line of thinking is flawed, sincerely. When you go to 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, and let's read what the book says, because I believe what the Bible says. And we're going to start at the 51st verse to answer this question. All right, look what it says. Behold, I show you a mystery. Now, this is a mystery. This is something that is concealed, yet it's going to be shown to us. This hidden truth, this hidden mystery, this religious secret, this hidden thing is getting ready to be shown to us. He says, we shall not all sleep, talking about the people that are dead, but we shall all be changed. When? In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. The book of Revelations tells us that there are 7 trumpets that'll be blown. And the only change that the book consistently agrees with us is this one change at the last trump. Nothing secret about it. Nothing secret. Nothing secret. He said, look at this. In a moment of a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trump shall sound, that's the shofar, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, his mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall put on incorruption, and his mortal shall put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. So we're slotted and to be changed at the last trump. Not before then. There ain't nothing secret about trumpets blowing. There's nothing secret about the king when he comes. He's going to make a grand entrance on the stage in his earth. And I can't, to me, it's amazing that people can believe in such a false doctrine as this. But you are right. It has caused the people to relax themselves in mind. and they are bitten of the fruit of lies, and now they're sitting on there do nothing, waiting to get caught up out of here while they run up their credit cards, while they get an extraordinary amount of debt, and while they allow sloth, apathy, complacency, and with this dumb, dormant, docile, demoralized spirit that they have, all they're doing is giving place to the devil, and they're going to be weighed in the balances because they're going to be lotted and slotted with the 5 foolish rather than the 5 wise.
Well, I couldn't put it better, Pastor. We're coming up here. We're coming here towards the end, and time just goes by so fast when we have you on here, brother. Why don't you take time before we go? Tell the people out there that are hearing this this message, and it certainly is a powerful, fiery one filled with truth. And if they're out there and they want to hear more about you and hear more of your sermons and your messages, why don't you let them know where they can find that out? And if you could, tell us a little bit what's going on, if you don't mind, as much as you care to share. Tell us what's going on at your home fellowship there, or your Straightway Fellowship. I know there's got to be a lot of good things going on there. I know the power of God's moving, I'm sure, in your fellowship because it's moving in your heart. Go ahead, you got the floor, Pastor.
Well, yes, sir. Well, what happens here, and this is going on here all the time right now, is a bunch of snow and a bunch of ice that is going on. But other than that, the same thing that goes on every Sabbath. A lot of healing, a lot of people being delivered, and a lot of people are coming to the knowledge of the truth and forsaking the lies of religion and returning to the laws and statutes and commandments of the Most High Yah. And people are just literally being delivered. We're casting out devils. We're healing the sick because we're commanded to by the Messiah. Now, if anybody want to contact us, you can contact us at www.straightwaytruth.com. And Straightway is spelled Straightwaytruth.com. On that particular website, there's many informative articles and newsletters, information concerning the Feast of the Most High Yahweh, which we'll be keeping here in the month of the Pesach at the beginning or the turn of the year. And if we know you or somewhat familiar with you, you may be invited to this feast. We are constantly broadcasting. I have a radio show as well on blogtalkradio.com every Friday night. It's called blogtalkradio.com/straightway every Friday night from 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I take your phone calls live all over this globe. We have had calls coming from all over this earth, all over this world. Also, the brethren on every Saturday night on the same thing. The sisters on Thursday, and Elder Rufus is on Sunday night. You can watch our live Shabbat services at www.online-church.org. Now, I'm going to tell you real quick, fast, in a hurry, that when you first hear me, you're going to get the shock of your life because you have been conditioned to bite of the fruit of lies. Pastor Dowell be the first to tell you that I'm not the institution that have reared you up in lies. I'm not the one that has taught you fairy tales. I'm not the one that taught you that George Washington chopped down a cherry tree. I'm not the one that's done that. So I'm not the one that's taught you that this big fat man is going to give 6 billion presents to over all these people in one night and get his fat butt down a chimney. I'm not the institution to teach you that rabbit lay eggs either. All this comes from pagan sources. Remember, religion has remained the same, but the names is only changed. I'm the one that's telling you the truth in this hour, and the only way you're going to be able to understand that is you have to prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. You have got to check me out. And when you do, you're going to find out that this man has loved you enough to tell you the truth. I'm not a Galatians 4:16 where I become your enemy because I tell you the truth. Most people who want to become enemies with me is because they simply can't handle the truth. And I preach about many things that people are afraid to touch. But yet and still, if we don't touch these subjects and these topics and restore the truth of the patriarchal rule and what the book is saying, then we deserve exactly what we get, and we got another 100 years of lies and destruction. But I don't think we have that long. I appreciate you having me on, James, here to be able to co-host with you on this wonderful radio broadcast. I wish you and your family peace and shalom.
Well, I'll tell you right back at you, brother. It's always great to have you here. We really, really enjoy, your messages. We enjoy your spirit, and we know that God is in you, and you're doing the right work, and we so much appreciate that. And we'll be coming to the end of the show here pretty soon, and go ahead and hang on after we cut off. I want to speak to you, but Yeah, great job today. Glad we got some people calling in, and keep at it, man. That's all we can all do. It's just, I can't do anything else, brother, and I know you're probably the same way. I would feel so out of place doing something different now because I really believe, as I'm sure you do, this is sort of a mission that I been put on, and I'm going to see it till it's ended.
Yes, sir. I'm with you. After all, there's really truly nothing else to do. I mean, the Most High woke me up when I was a paratrooper in the United States Army. I was a staff sergeant. I had 10 years in. I could have did 10 more years standing on top of my head and received a nice little retirement for the rest of my life. But the Messiah made himself known to me, and I just can't see myself as well, James, doing any other thing but serving him and actually getting the truth out to people, whether it be on social, political, economic, or the religious perspective or point of view or viewpoint. That's my lot in life.
All right, Pastor, we have to dump off the network here. The music hasn't come up yet, but hang on the line. I'm going to cut off with the studio. There's the music. Thanks for joining us today on the Liberty Brothers Radio Show. You can visit us on thelibertybrothers.com. And remember, we are now broadcasting Tuesday as well, so we will be here tomorrow. Thanks so much and have a great evening. Thank you again, Pastor.
Shalom. I'm here.
Okay, great. We're off the server. Great job. Excellent. I think that, I know what we talked about. I think you're going to do just fine, Pastor. You're going to do just fine. You can carry the ball for an hour, 2 hours. I don't think any problem at all. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. No problem. Yeah, that's no problem. I'm accustomed to preaching 2 and 3 and 4 hours every Sabbath, and I run my mouth all the time. So, and people sit and listen too because they're engaged, because the information that they're receiving has their spirit alive and awakened because they know they're hearing the truth.
That's right. And I tell you, I'll make you a promise that I sure hope and pray I can keep. When I get myself flush here and I get some more money, I would like to come down there and visit you down there and sit through one of your 2 or 3 hour sermons. There's nothing I enjoy more, man, than really good preaching. I mean, it's just my heart desires it, and I would love to come down there and hear you preach one Saturday. That's for sure.
Well, all you have to do is set aside a part of time when you like to come, and I'll pay for you a round trip plane ticket to come down here and to be with us.
Oh, come on, really?
Yes, I will.
Wow, Pastor, that is.
So that makes it easy enough.
Wow, I can't believe that's phenomenal. Wow.
I function a little bit different than pastors and preachers and teachers. Can you believe that I've had this little small tabernacle up there for like 17 years and I have never taken up an offering in that tabernacle the whole time I've been here?
Is that right?
Yes, sir. Never have. People, if they choose to give, they give, and they give at the address that we have. But I've never badgered people for offerings. Never. We don't even have an offering plate.
Wow, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes to relationship with the Most High.
Well, that's the reason why I'm able to be able to give you a gift. Whenever you decide that you can get yourself free, and we can agree on the time that you can come, there's no problem for us. We'll even pick you up at the airport, put you up here in our homes, or one of our homes, or either my house, myself, if no guests are already here, feed you, and fellowship with you, and then even give you a ride back to the airport so you can have a ride back home.
Wow, I tell you, how can I pass that up, my good brother? You're making me an offer, as they say in the Italian culture. Refuse. You're making me an offer I can't refuse. Well, let me speak to my wife about that. And man, I tell you, yes. The answer to your question is yes. I will. It'll probably be on maybe a Friday, and we'll just have Jason do this his broadcast, and maybe I can just show up Friday morning early or something and stay until maybe Sunday evening or something. That'd be great.
Sure.
All right, man. Wow, you got me charged up. I would so much enjoy to be down there and sit with you and fellowship with you and listen to your sermon. I tell you, it would really, really warm my heart.
I guarantee you would have an experience of a lifetime.
Oh man, I tell you, I'm already excited about it, and I haven't even looked at the flight schedule. Well, good brother, I so much appreciate, man. And I tell you, if we're working right now for this. We're already putting the things in place for this radio show, but regardless, you're welcome on our broadcast anytime, man. And I so much appreciate you stepping in. And God bless and blessings to you and your family. And I just can't say it enough, man, how much I appreciate you, brother.
Well, you too, James. I'm humble.
Thanks so much.
Thank you
All right,
very
brother.
much.
God bless you.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.